we are 100 days until Euro 2024, which is all very exciting. The international break, of course, takes place before the summer. That takes place in a couple of weeks' time. And Gareth Southgate has got lots of selection dilemmas ahead of announcing his squad to face Brazil and Belgium. That's going to happen tomorrow. As you see, Rob Dorsett is with us to look ahead to that one. How's it going to look, do you think, that squad, compared to 4 years ago?
Well, look, everybody thinks that Gareth Southgate picks the same players, doesn't he? He gets criticised for an awful lot. So it surprised me when we looked at the stats about the squad last time, 4 years ago. And don't forget, 100 days to go, we're looking at last Euros compared with what might happen this Euros. So let's show you some of those. We've divided them up of the 26 players that went into the green, the amber and the red, if you like. These are all the ones that I reckon from the previous squad are guaranteed to get in if they're fit, Pete. And we're still several months away from the Euros, of course. So if they're fit, have a look along there. Pickford, Johnston, the two goalkeepers. Walker, Stones, Trippier and Chilwell. Yep. Rice, Bellingham, Saka, Foden, Rashford and Kane. So that's 12 that I think of the previous 26 that are guaranteed to get in if they're fit. OK. Happy with that?
Yes. Yes.
Let's move it on.
OK.
And I reckon these players from the 26 from 4 years ago are struggling. Okay. And I think they'll be difficult for these players to make it in. Conor Cody's playing in the Championship and not very often for Leicester. Tyrone Mings, big injury. Ben White, I think, will struggle to play under Gareth Southgate again. Yep. Jadon Sancho. Raheem Sterling is probably the biggest headline out of all that. Totally absent from all of the England squad since the World Cup. Can't see him getting back in unless there's a massive sea change or real injury problems. Dominic Calvert-Lewin the same. So 6... probably not going to go. OK. The next screen I'm going to show you is the ones who are maybe. Now, these are the most interesting ones, look, because a lot of this depends on form and fitness.
Oh, I love this.
Aaron Ramsdale, look, just not playing.
He's an amber for you, is he? Well,
he's an amber because of his injury problems. The truth is, we don't know how fit he is right now. It's a bit of a mystery, this one. It's an unspecified injury that Harry Maguire's got. We don't know how long. Reece James back in a month or so's time. Luke Shaw's out for several months. Jordan Henderson, we've just been hearing from him. We know he wants to be involved, but what does Southgate think now that he's got other options in midfield? Yeah. Is he playing to a good enough standard to get in that England squad for the Euros? Same with Calvin Phillips. Mason Mount not playing any football. Jack Grealish injured. Big names there, key players for England, that there are significant question marks over. So there could be a lot of changes. It could be a very different squad this summer compared with 4 years ago. And by the way, it's a squad of only 23 instead of 26, so he's got some difficult decisions to make.
Fascinating, isn't it? And we will wait and see. And there are a lot of players desperate to get in there who have not really been involved as well. What are Southgate's biggest areas of concern, would you say, heading into Euro 2024?
For me, it has to be defence. It's the biggest headache he's got by far. We talked about some of the injuries there. Harry Maguire, don't know when he's back. Mark Gay, who has been the understudy. If either Maguire or John Stones has been unavailable, it's been Mark Gay who's stepped up. Well, of course, he's injured now, 6 to 8 weeks with a knee problem. That takes him dangerously close to the Euros. Is he going to be able to make that squad? Who's going to partner John Stones in that central midfield? And we've got a lot of problems at fullback. We've just broken the news today about Kieran Trippier being out for 2 to 3 weeks. If he has any fallout from that, if it is any longer than that, what's his fitness going to be like by the time we get to the Euros? We already know that Reece James and Luke Shaw are both injured as well. A strong likelihood, I think, that Joe Gomez might get the nod next week when Southgate names his squad for these friendlies against Belgium and Brazil. So versatile, played 4 different positions, solves a problem for him. First time he might have played for England since 2020.
Are these the squads to try, this next squad, to try people, like get Gomez, get people in there?
But that's what everybody's clamouring for. A lot of fans are clamouring for that. But the truth is, he's picked Brazil and Belgium, about as tough as you can possibly get. Why has he done that? Because he wants to put his best 11 up against what he thinks is the best 11 in the world, because they don't get to play many of these really big games. So is he going to experiment that much?
No, it's a good point.
I don't think he will. The last international break before the Euros, I think he'll go pretty safe and play the strongest he can.
It's a really good point, mate, actually. And Phil Foden was unbelievable on Sunday. What a player. And a lot of talk about where he's going to play. I mean, you can play everywhere except goalkeeper, you think, but where would you stick him?
I'd quite like to see him in goal as well. He's probably brilliant in nets, isn't he? Let's be honest. But yeah, look, he's been in absolutely extraordinary form, and a lot of people clamouring for him to play in the middle. Southgate doesn't really see him as a number 10, and neither does Pep, judging by this. Look, these are the positions he has played so far for Manchester City this season. 5 at left wing, 5 in that number 10 role, 15 on the right wing. So pretty clearly Pep tends to see him as a winger, so does Gareth Southgate, but he's probably not going to play right wing for England because there's a certain Bukayo Saka there who is almost immovable from a Gareth Southgate perspective. So I think he'll be battling on the left wing with Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
So who'd you go, Foden or do you go Rashford to start? That's a really interesting one. So where Foden fits in, I think there'll be a lot of England fans who want to see Bellingham, Rice and Phil Foden as the middle three for England.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen because he's going to take the space that Bellingham plays. Bellingham's playing a number 10. He's injured at the moment, but we're talking about the Euros. Should be fit for that. I think.
What's your hunch? You're going to go Saka, Bellingham, Foden,
yes.
and then with Rice deeper?
Yeah, with Rice a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And then the third midfield is the interesting one. I'd put my money on Conor Gallagher at the moment or somebody like that.
OK.
But it could be Henderson, it could be Calvin Phillips. It depends, I think, on the opposition. Depends how those two players, Phillips and Henderson, play over the next couple of months. Yeah. And that might influence Southgate's decision there. But I expect them all to be in the squad.
We had a Dutch journalist here just in the last part saying Henderson's performances are improving all the time. So
there you go.
We'll keep an eye on that one as well. Now, strikers, we know who's going to play ahead of those three, don't we? If he's fit, it's this guy.
Yeah.
But a lot of talk about who the other strikers in the squad might be. Does he take three?
I don't think he can fit three in the squad. Right. I think when he had 26 players in the last Euros, yes, he could, and he did take three strikers. I don't think he will this time, and I think Marcus Rashford is his get-out-of-jail-free because if he takes Rashford as a winger, he can play as a number 9 as well. Yeah. Harry Kane, of course, first choice, 33 goals in 32 games for in the Bundesliga and Champions League this season. Extraordinary, no doubt about his first choice. Ollie Watkins, absolute shoo-in if it was today for the form he's shown. 22 goals this season for him, 5 in his last 4, absolutely brilliant. But I know this man would like to try and get Ivan Toney in that squad if he possibly can.
Different type of player, isn't he?
Different type of player, somebody who can come off the bench, have an impact. I think he would definitely like to take Toney. He's spoken very highly of him when he got his ban for those gambling offences. He's a big fan, Gareth Southgate, of Ivan Toney, but can he fit him in the squad? I think a lot will depend on injuries between now and then, but it's really interesting that we're talking about it already. 100 days to go, Pete. I reckon you and me will be talking about him for probably the next 99. Who's going to be in it, won't we?
And it'll change every day.
It probably will.
Brilliant. Rob, thank you so much for that.